All right, I think this is about as good as it's gonna get on my end.
She was introduced to many of us on season 11 of RuPaul's Drag Race, where she showed us that comfortability in your own skin is what can push you to success, or in her case, a crown. She is not sorry about being a lip sync assassin that will bring the house down. And bitch, I'm hyped for her music. Her name is Yvie Oddly, and she's about to be exposed. Hey, hey.
Howdy, howdy. I'm ready. I've got a zip up.
You got to zip up. You got to expose it all. So I want to dive into a little bit of baby Yvie. What were you like when you were born and raised in Denver, Colorado? What was little Yvie like?
Little Yvie was slightly quiet, but that's only because I was a know-it-all even back then. So I just kept my mouth shut unless I saw people doing wrong things, and it was just like blah, blah, blah. I like kept to myself. I love painting and drawing and like just being. I would put on like little gay shows for my family, like showing them my favorite poses that I learned on Sailor Moon. So just as fabulous as today.
Sailor Moon, that was the show. Oh my goodness.
That was it. It taught me about transformation.
Exactly. And you were in gymnastics as a child, right?
I was. I actually kept knocking all of my teeth out, flipping around the house. So my mom was like, "You've got to do something with this energy," and like scrapped up enough to put me in gymnastics.
And then at the age of 15, you were diagnosed with EDS.
Yeah, I think it was around 15. I'd always had these weird joint pains, and we had assumed it was growing pains, but then I hit my growth spurt and was like 6, whatever I am now, and the pain was still there. So went to the doctor, and they were like, "You have issues. You have EDS. It's gonna be hard, and you have to do lots of physical therapy right now."
Wow. What was that like for you, especially like just starting going through puberty, and then you're diagnosed with this, and then you have to deal with puberty and this, and on the potential of coming out of being gay?
You know, it was a lot easier for me to, I don't want to like say ignore, but it was a lot less of an everyday issue because, as you mentioned, I was going through puberty, so my body was already growing and changing, and like some days I was in pain and some days I wasn't, and some days I felt like an energetic kid who was invincible. And then so I didn't really have to cope with my disease in the same way that I do now as an adult. And I'm like, oh God, and there's like no youthful rebellion in me that's like telling me to go burn everything down because you're invincible.
Oh, who is that?
It's my little one-eyed, three-legged cat. We rescued him from the streets. He's so needy. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. That's you just threw him off.
He'll be back. He would not leave me alone putting on this makeup today.
What's his name?
Lucky.
Oh.
Kind of ironic.
So, when did you actually start donning drag and putting on drag for the first time? Like, when was your first performance? Do you remember that?
Technically speaking, my first performance was in high school for a class project. Each week we had to do research on like one specific thing that our teacher gave us. And I had gotten Aretha Franklin. So I was like, oh, I know what I'm going to do to like show the kids. And I threw on a wig, and that was my first lip sync performance. And I didn't even realize that until like last month, maybe, when one of my old classmates reminded me.
That's crazy. That's really funny though.
Yeah, and then I just shoved it all right back down, just shoved that queen down until I was an adult and out of the house.
So you're out of the house. What age was it when you determined that you wanted to be named Yvie Oddly?
That actually took a while. When I started drag at 18, I thought you had to have like a makeup in your name or like designer something in your name. So I was Avon, and Avon calling. But then I realized like after a few years of that it's probably not a good thing to be named after cheap door-to-door makeup. So I was like, you know what? I have to like rename myself. I want something that actually fits me instead of like what fits a drag queen. And I came up with Yvie Oddly because my performances and the things I can do with my body were always getting called weird. So it's even odder than everybody else.
But I love it. And I love your style and aesthetic of drag, because I think that one thing that you've taught quite a lot of people, and a lot of people too, when I was asking people's questions, was like, I just want to tell her, thank you for showing that it is okay to be weird. Like, it's okay to be a little bit like odd and different. And like, I think that that's a big thing that you've done, is like showing people like embrace the things that make you weird and odd.
What's strange is it's not like I went into Drag Race having that message like locked and loaded, like, okay, here we are. Like, oh, I'm a weirdo, be weird. It was honestly the experience of being with the specific girls I was with who did help alienate a lady and make her feel a little bit out on the odd end of things. But I'm really actually grateful for that, because I thrive in group settings and I thrive in places where everybody is thinking one way and I'm given the freedom to kind of explore what the opposite of whatever they're going to do is.
Exactly. And one person that I know that you said in previous interviews who's inspired you was Sharon Needles.
Yeah.
And then in 2014, you ended up being in a Sharon Needles music video for Dress to Kill. What was that experience like, especially like looking up to somebody and then being in a video?
That was absolutely nuts. I mean, it's always a little bit disappointing to meet your idols in real life, because we're all only human. So like, you imagine these perfect people and then they're only human. But getting to finally be introduced to this world that I had only watched on TV and like painted on my face in my bedroom, it was when I decided to make the switch into, oh yeah, I'm going to have to take drag seriously. Like, this isn't just something I want to casually do once a month. Like, I want to be a part of the community. And after getting invited to her video, I like put in a job application at a gay club and never looked straight again.
And was that the same gay club that you ended up managing as well?
Yeah, that was where all of my Denver queer history was.
Oh my gosh. So you were managing and performing. How in the world did you even do that?
Luckily it was a bar, so there was plenty of like Red Bull and tequila there for me. It was difficult though. I ended up having to choose like whether or not I wanted to do something that was ultimately good for the entire community, which is hopefully manage and be a successful person in that way, or do something that was a little more selfish, because there's no guarantee that drag is actually going to take you anywhere or make other people happy. Like, you can be masturbating on stage, but I wanted to do what was going to make me happy. And that's the determination that I think got me on Drag Race and got me here.
Well, let's talk about the determination, because the year's 2019, you end up being announced as a contestant on season 11 of Drag Race.
Season 11, bitch. You better let it, bitch.
Had you auditioned before season 11?
Yeah, I had auditioned. That was my third year, I believe. It was basically every year that I was old enough to. I was like, okay, I'm ready. There was only like one time I didn't, and that's because I was like, oh, maybe I should like be good enough to beat some local girls if I wanna like go for Drag Race.
Where were you when you got the phone call that you're going to be on season 11?
It's funny because I just got off a really long shift at work, and I remember I was just in the worst of moods. I was like, if Drag Race doesn't happen, I'm gonna move to Alaska, or like, just like I need a change so badly. I'm sick of this. And I was like just beating myself up, and then I got a call.
And you're like, yes, finally 3 years of these auditions have finally paid off.
It was funny because like the change was immediate. I was like, my life sucks. I hate everything. I need to change to, bitches, I told you. Metaphorically, I couldn't actually tell anyone.
So you get on, you walk through these doors of season 11.
But what the? Move over, ladies. This race just took an odd turn. Oh, wow, the circus is in town, man.
What are you thinking when you walk into the workroom for the first time?
oh my God, I am so sweaty. Is this going to be just like a constant experience? Am I going to sweat for the rest of it? Like it just immediately started. I walked in and I was like, oh my God, I am so fucking nervous. And it all just shone right out of the glory holes.
So you're sweating profusely, and then you end up getting to do the first mini challenge with also somebody you've worked with before, Adore Delano.
Yeah, that was kind of nice getting to see somebody who gave me a little bit more of a connection, because otherwise, like, you're just thrown into this new world. You're thrown into reality TV and like cameras being right here and like 15 other bitches being around you, like hoping you're going to fall. So it was kind of nice to see somebody who had absolutely no like value in whether or not you succeeded. They're just there to like have a good time and like take some photos and party.
During those first few episodes of Drag Race, too, you did have a few shining moments. You had your shining moment of the Good God Girl Get Out, and you won your challenge, and you showed everybody your signature laugh. Is acting something that you would ever want to get into?
I was actually pursuing a degree in theater, like right out of high school, because I had gotten into acting my last year in high school. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I could never keep my mind like made up on what I wanted to do, but I always knew I wanted to like move to New York and live out some gay fantasy. So I was trying acting for a while until I got pissed that there weren't enough roles for a tall, deep-voiced Black guy who was also just like so fucking queenie. I wanted to be my own director and star, so that's why I've like left acting for drag.
But I mean, you are now your own director and your own star, and then you can end up doing what you want to do with it. And you end up on this show, and many of the Untucked moments were a big thing. I mean, my favorite thing, I think, from Untucked from that season was,
What does that have to do with any bitch?
That was so funny to me, and just like the drama that you ended up having with Silky. Are you guys on the good end now?
That's the thing, is we after like we made it all the way through the season, we were in the same terminal on our flights home. So she was like, girl, do you want to get some drinks? And so like we got some tequila, did some shots, and we squashed everything right there. And I think we came to realize that we're not always going to see eye to eye on a lot of things, and that both of us were a little bit fueled by ego and insecurity during Drag Race. Some of us more than others. No, but I think that realizing that our viewpoints weren't the same was what ultimately like led us to be really, really good Judies today.
That's so good to hear. And I mean, I think that's really cool that you can, go on this competition, you compete against each other, and then you end up becoming friends afterwards. You may not see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, you both went through an experience together.
I mean, I feel like that was kind of my downfall as far as making friends during the competition goes, is without being the bitch who says, I'm not here to make friends. I made it clear that like I don't care as much about being cordial with people as much as I wanted an authentic battle to the end, which is why I almost never came for Brooklyn.
Well, speaking of Miss Brooklyn, on episode 8, you unfortunately end up in the bottom 2. However, it was the best lip sync, this is my opinion, but I think it's the right opinion, of all time on Drag Race. Sorry Not Sorry against Brooklyn. How did you feel in that moment? And how prepared were you for that?
I mean, I was as prepared as I was ever going to be, because the second Ru announced that it was Snatch Game, I was like, well, this is the week I'm lip syncing. Like I went into that challenge so defeated that I already had like started like rehearsing that song in my head at the beginning of the week, and I knew what I was going to do at what points. I had already come up with this elaborate performance. I did not think it was going to keep me there, but I was going to go down swinging, especially because I can't go out after starting a bunch of shit with literally every girl there and then just be like, oh, you guys were right.
But you turned it out, and I think that was such a cool thing to be able to see, because it was two people going at it. You obviously wanted this really bad. When you get home and you see yourself on TV, did you expect the fan reaction to be so big?
A little bit. I mean, I've been doing drag for 8 years, and whenever it was somebody's like first time getting to see me perform, because that's back when I could throw my body around all the time, but for 8 years I was like throwing my body around, and whenever people would see it for the first time, they'd be like, wow, that's really cool. And while I did not want to necessarily lip sync for my life, I was glad I got the opportunity to really let loose and, like, with a passionate good reason, show people the biggest reason why I belonged on Drag Race in the first place.
And that's always, like, I think the sad thing about Drag Race is that you don't get to showcase what people are known for and what you are known for until you get in the bottom. And then it's like, oh.
I mean, unless you do other things. And luckily there are a lot of queens. And that's the point of Drag Race, is to learn all of these things that you can do when you stop telling yourself you can't. It's just the one thing that, at least in American drag culture, is kind of a standard, is like being able to move your mouth to other people's music and entertain people enough to make them give you $1.
Well, you entertain people enough for Ru to give you $100,000, because you end up on the finale of Drag Race. What was that moment like for you?
Oh, it just felt so good. And I once again did not know that I was going to, like, end up winning, and I didn't have a feeling like that. I just went in it with, this is my last chance to really show myself to everyone. And there's no category here other than do what you really love and do it to the finest. So I pulled out the best drag I could think of. And I was really glad that I got to take on, like, some really fierce competitors.
You really did. And I think the drag that you had on was so, like, different and stunning to me. Like, all of, like, your plush stuffed animals around you, your Free Britney, and then your beautiful, like, headpiece. I was, like, so stunned. Your parents were stunned. They were sitting in the audience next to each other. And let me ask you about your dad. Everybody on the internet loves your dad. What do you say to them?
He's you, like, if you want him, you can have a piece. There's plenty of him to go around. Like, you just have to do the work to find him, because I'm not going to set you up with my dad. Like, people always, like, slide into my DMs like, hey girl, so what's up with your dad? I'm like, he has a phone. He has, like, an Instagram. Go find him. But I'm used to it. Like, literally my entire life, random women would, like, pull me from, like, kindergarten, the grocery store, and be like, baby, I just need to tell you, your dad is so fine. He is so fine. Oh, I would do nasty things to him. So I've always known.
What was it like when he said that he would show his motorcycle club the show?
Crazy, because my dad has never not been proud of me, and I did have really strong parenting, and for sure that aspect that, like, my mom and dad both supported me in everything I did, and whether or not I was good, they made me feel like I was, like, at least So the fact that he was willing to take, like, that love and pride for me, like, one step further and show me to, like, a bunch of people who mean something to him, but who might not traditionally be that accepting, was amazing. And now they're, like, some of my biggest fans too. They were all just bumping my new single at their motorcycle club.
That's so cute. And you are in the finale lip sync. You're performing to the edge of glory. You do this. And one thing that some people don't know is that when you guys film this, you have about that 3-week gap, 2-3 week gap, until you have to, like, watch it, and then you see it. Did you know after you performed Edge of Glory that you were going to win? Did you have any inclination? Did you think?
No, it was too close. Like, Brooklyn was such a fierce competitor. And if we're going based off of, like, how we performed throughout the competition, it was no secret amongst us girls that Brooklyn was the bitch to beat. with me as like a cute second. But like I just knew she was going to be the fiercest person to take down. So after having thrown it all on the line against her for the second time, it really was just like a toss-up. And I feel, honestly, if Ru did decide to crown her, she would have been every bit as fabulous a reigning queen as I was, if not a little bit more.
No, hands down, that moment for you when that happened, I was like, it was like so good. I bet for you it felt amazing and wonderful. And then did you start traveling after that? A lot?
I was already traveling by the time we hit there, because the thing is, all it really takes is for people to get a little bit of exposure from you to want to book you. And the further you make it in the season while it's still airing, the like crazier your schedule, your life, and everything is going to be. So I had already like not been home for like 2 months or something.
And now it's the total opposite and we're stuck.
I mean, y'all are stuck. I am in heaven. I've got like drag to my left. I've got like cats to my right. I am all good.
Well, in July of 2019, you kind of came under fire for some tweets that you put out about taking pictures with fans after shows, and how, it's not necessarily the queen's responsibility to take pictures with fans. And, you kind of like cleared up yourself. So can you elaborate on what you meant for those that may not be able to read through the lines of a tweet, and what you meant by that?
Read through my stupid ass metaphors. What I meant by that was, like I had said, I was just starting some serious tour life, and already I had started to see how the fans kind of not only disrespected me, but were disrespecting all of the season 11 girls that I was on tour with. And what really crossed the line for me was there was one place where we went where like the fans like found us right after the show, and we like threw it on the ground. It was a good ass show. We were like twerking it. They found us after the show. And I had told them that I didn't want to take photos because I was exhausted and my bones were hurting and I was going to go crawl into a hole and die. And like, they were sweet and pleasant enough about it. But when the girls and I had ended up walking back to our hotel, the fans had followed us all the way there, and then like started hiding to like try and jump in and ask for like pictures round number 2. And when I told somebody no again, they got really pissed at me and were really entitled in a way that I had just gotten sick of people assuming that because they had supported you on TV, like because we see someone on TV does not mean that they owe us their entire life and soul and energy, especially because at the end of these performances, like I am in so much pain. I am so angry. I am not a happy, like go lucky person. And if I were to like wipe it all up and just suck it up and like take all the photos with all of the fans who don't even respect my time and space and energy, then it would be a whole lot faker. And I guess I'm just still the bitch I was on the show, who is going to cause a few bruises by telling people that I have boundaries and we all deserve respect. And if you don't like it, it's okay. I've got plenty of fans who do know how to respect me.
And I think that it's a big thing. I think that there's always a line, and that a lot of times, people can cross lines. And especially, you've mentioned before, like, you're not feeling the best after a performance. Your bones are hurting, you're hurting, your joints are hurting. And one thing that you have mentioned, in past interviews is that you don't foresee yourself being able to do, drag for a very long time due to your medical condition. Do you get scared about that, or do you freak out about that in any way?
Legit, I spend most of my life trying not to think about it. I spend most of my life trying to soak up whatever's happening in the moment. And I've just been really fortunate in a weird way with the quarantine happening, that I've had to focus on things that aren't throwing my body on the ground 6 to 7 nights a week and without any time for real recuperation. And I want to like correct any statements. Like, I don't have to quit drag, and I'm not going to quit drag by any means. It's just I realize that I will not always be able to do the things in drag that initially gave me so much joy about it. So I'm just going to have to find it elsewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that that's a thing too. And I think that it's also kind of cool that you do have this time in quarantine to be able to like find little different creative ventures that you can do. And speaking of creative ventures, I want to talk about this music video that you just put out. And this single,
so I won't be polite, hell nah. Bitch, I'm hype, going crazy with my ladies, looking good and feeling right. Hey, bitch, I'm
hype. I will tell you, I was sitting on my couch behind me, and a little notice came on YouTube, and I was like, what is this? And I clicked it, and let me just tell you, I literally was like shaking my ass within 2 seconds. I was like,
yeah,
it's such a good song. The video is so good. You have, Silky in there, Vanjie in there, she's also on the verse, Brooklyn, and then Soju, like you have all them there, and then you filmed it at Mickey's in West Hollywood. Tell me about the song, tell me about the video, and tell me about that process.
After season 11 ended, I had talked to Silky and Vanjie being like, I think it would be really smart for us to do a song together. Like we should do this because the fans are going to be brutal. Not everybody is smart enough to realize that what happens on TV does not mean it stays that way forever. So I thought it would be a really cool way for us to like try and force people to see that like, we're friends, we're cool, like drop it and leave it alone. And unfortunately, with how busy all three of us and just the drag world was in general, we never really had time to come and like make anything together until Vanjie and I were in Las Vegas for Drag Race Live. And then I was like, okay, bitch, I got you here. I'm stealing your voice. I'm putting it on a track. We're going to get hype. It's about us going out to the clubs, even though it's looking like we're probably not going to be able to do that for much longer. Let's get in it. Let's get on it. And like, let's whip it out because I want to have like one party with you, girl. And bitch, did we have the party.
And I absolutely love the music video too, because the mannequins, all the mannequins that were dressed, I was like, I swear that one looks like Detox. I swear this one looks like somebody else. Like it was so good and so funny. Very clever idea. What do you feel when you put out music?
It's actually a very, as far as any of my other art forms go, this is probably the place where I'm the most vulnerable. And that's not because like I'm out here like writing my heart on my sleeve. Like I wrote about a dollar store, working and going to the club. The shit is not that deep, but it's forcing me to be vulnerable because music, like every other art form, is something that people will subjectively like or not like. And we grow up telling ourselves like, you're not a singer, you're not a dancer, you're not any of this. And that's the one art form where I had like never really confronted about how it makes me feel to perform and how vulnerable I feel when I'm doing it. So it's nerve-wracking releasing music, but honestly, at this point, I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm having a lot of fun, and it's something that's always been a part of me, so there shouldn't be any shame about it.
No, there shouldn't at all, especially when it sounds like that. And do you have plans on releasing an album?
Yeah, I am hoping to have my album out and all together in early fall.
That will be good. That will be good. What's the vibe? Do you think it's gonna be more of like a party vibe, more like what kind of vibe can we expect?
It's mostly songs because I've already written everything. It's just about like slapping on the polish, but it's mostly just a lot of detailing of like how my experiences have been in this last year. So a lot of it is fun because I'm still a drag queen. You have to have fun, but I wanted to make music that feels really authentic because sometimes the Ru girls have like a tendency to release what I call Ru girl bops, which are like, I'm going to say my catchphrase from the season and whisper over and over and over and over again and over and over and over again. And it's good because that is authentic, like gay music that's from our culture. These bitches made it. But I also wanted to challenge myself to like make something that I personally would like to listen to, like on a like flipping through the radio ass mood.
That's great. I'm really excited for that. I think your fans are excited for that because that was a big question they had. Like, when's an album? When's an album? When's an album? And another fan question that I had for you is that, you have said on Instagram posts that you had met your boyfriend via Grindr.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, what tips do you have for people who are online dating?
I think if you're online dating, y'all, I have so many tips, but all of them would sound so rude. Like, I just have a million mean things to talk to you guys about how I see you out here trying to date, because it's pretty fucked up. Like, first of all, if you're trying to date somebody, you should be trying to date that person, not trying to date people. Like, yeah, I'm just like really sick of being single. Bitch, we're all sick of being single at points. But like, if you're going to explore a relationship with somebody, it should be because you genuinely being how you are and them genuinely being how they are, like, is something that attracts you, not because you're like, damn, he has a dick. So that's my biggest rude tip for all of y'all, is stop just like throwing yourselves into relationships. Let them build naturally, because honestly, anytime I've had a relationship that was like glued together like that, it was a hot ass mess. And anytime I have it, it's been like beautiful, fruitful. I feel like I'm enlightened, like on some Gandhi bullshit. I'm doing new kinky like sexual positions. I just, like it has to be authentic.
I think that's a good point too, because it always seems like in any of my history, anytime like, you know, I fall in love and it's a really good relationship, it's when I'm not looking for it. It's when like that's what it is. You can't be like, oh, I'm single and I want to find, like, no, you need to like let things play out.
Well, and the reason why it doesn't work like that is because that means you're not actually doing the work it takes to love yourself. And I know it's so corny and we've heard it a million times, like literally every single RuPaul episode. But if you don't love yourself, how in the hell are you really going to love somebody else? Like when I met my boyfriend, I didn't feel like I found somebody who completed me. I just found somebody who made my already dope ass life sweeter.
I love that. And I think that's a big thing, you know, just finding that other person just to be able to have fun with and a great time with, like being your best friend. And
yeah.
Going back to RuPaul, you also, 3 weeks ago, you end up being the first lip sync assassin on All Stars 5. Okay, so you come in, you get that call, whatever it is, and they're like, come on, you're gonna be a lip sync assassin. How ready were you to bring down the house? Because that was brought down in front of Ricky Martin. Let's bring that down too.
Well, it was nerve-wracking because, like, I remember dancing to his bops, like, back before I even, like, finished diapers. I'm still not done with diapers, so that actually doesn't mean shit. But, no, it was just nerve-wracking because when they had called me, I was in the middle of this, like, crazy touring and, like, this whole new life, and I had just won. So I was like, oh, wait, so you, like, want me to go and, like, put like my validity on the line again? Like, you want me to jeopardize the possible fact that I obviously just won by like going and making a fool of myself? And when I thought about that, I knew I had to go back and take that chance, because I love a good risk, especially when it means I have to like work really hard to turn it out.
I guess one thing that I had a question of is, did you feel in that moment that you had to go easy on the other queen to be able to let them shine?
Ew, God, no. I did not start drag to go easy on other queens. I did not, like, bitch, I am not a grown-ass man in a wig to go easy on another grown-ass man in a wig, or whatever they identify as. But either way, bitch, like, when you get called to do something, like, you do it all the way or don't answer the call.
Yes. And another thing that you've done all the way is that you just started back before the corona and everything happened. You were in RuPaul's Drag Race Live.
Yes.
What was that experience like? And I'm hoping, you know, once everything goes through that you guys do get back there. What's the experience like having a residency and actually being able to perform like in a stable place?
It was so weird. It is the strangest thing, because I feel like if you like milk the most you can out of your career, you never are in the same place. Like, that's what I had always understood about the Drag Race girls who would come to my club before I got on. That's what I understood about it in the life that I had lived since being announced, is that like, you're just going to be working, and working is a blessing. But it did leave a little bit of emptiness in my drag, because the reasons why my drag got me there in the first place was my work going into it. And so like, it was cool collaborating. It is cool collaborating with people. But the fact that I had no time to like rest and recuperate and like work on myself and like feel like a human being meant that my drag just wasn't going the places I wanted it to. So Vegas actually, before Corona times even, like offered me a little bit of space and time to like get good at drag again, like to like actually do things like for myself.
That's so cool. And what is the audience like there?
Oh, they were so good. They were so good. And I miss it because the girls and I actually had a really good relationship, like kikiing in the dressing rooms beforehand and like going out to the clubs. And so like we were this little family unit because it's like not like any of us really knew a whole lot of other people in Vegas. So we were this little family unit that like got to go out on the stage every night and feed people live, like give them a crazy show, especially because I don't think there's any easy way to describe the Drag Race Vegas show that really like encompasses all of what it does and is.
That's so cool. And especially like people coming all over the world. You know, you have fans coming from different countries and different states, and you like they can all come in one place. Is there hope for after Corona? Are we fingers crossing?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing is I'm like speaking with the other girls, it's something that we all loved. Like, even though it was so much work to get to that point, it's something that I think all of us would be willing to go back to and want to go back to. It's just got to be at a time where we're not putting anybody else in jeopardy and where we can actually like afford to put on a really good show, because it is kind of difficult to perform like to 1 in 6 people.
Exactly. And one thing that, you know, that has been happening in our current time, you've been very vocal and very supportive of, you know, Black Lives Matter and this whole moment that's going on in our history. And one big thing that is also very prevalent in Drag Race is racism and Drag Race culture.
I mean, it's like unfortunate. I don't think it's surprising because Drag Race is just an extension of the culture that exists out in the real world. And so when fans like these lion-ass fans slide into your DMs and like call you the N-word and tell you to like go kill yourself and die, or even that's the thing is it doesn't even have to be as extreme as go kill yourself and die. If you look at all of the Black queens who have won or who have made it far on the show, there's still a history of us having less followers, having less support, being able to do less with our reigns in general. And it's because the fans, whether or not they want to check it, and the producers and people in the industry and our culture, whether or not it wants to check it, is so inherently racist that it sees a skinny, beautiful white queen who may or may not be talented and is like, bitch, I can relate to you way more than that dark person over there who's literally throwing their body on the ground for you, like bending over backwards and making you laugh. Like, just look at the season 12 girls. Like, some of the most followed girls on there are the skinny white queens. And some of the people who did the best in the competition or who even were like America's sweethearts are struggling to make the same impact with amongst the wider fan base because it's the whiter fan base. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of us need to check the things in our lives that we are all bad at, because we're all guilty, bitch. Like, we've all turned a blind eye, whether it was like against Black people, trans people, like women in our community, people with disabilities. We need to start actually checking ourselves instead of focusing on canceling the celebrities who do bad, because we're just projecting.
I love that you said that, just checking your own self and realizing, you know, like you said, we all have done it at some point. There's all been a moment, and just realizing, as opposed to going after the celebrities and stuff for cancel culture, realizing what you need to cancel in yourself.
Exactly.
And I think that is a very, very big part of everything. So what would you say is the biggest misconception of Yvie Oddly?
Well, according to people in my meet and greets, it's that I don't smell. Like Raja and Vanjie both had these lines about Yvie smells terrible, that bitch stinks. And yes, I did on Drag Race because I was an animal in a cage, locked away, chain smoking out of my hotel window, like still fervently showering, but not enough to keep up with all the stress sweat. And now that I'm a human being, girl, oh, it's a whole new game. I smell like lavender. I smell like daisies. I smell like BO sometimes, but it's like that sexy, like, ooh, I just got done at the gym, BO.
What's today's smell? Like, smell a vision for the audience.
For the audience, today is a ripoff of, I think it's like Cool Blue or Cool Waters or whatever that, like Polo Blue. That's what it is. It's ripoff Polo Blue because Dollar Store still has my back.
And what's next for Yvie?
You know, I just want to keep having fun and exploring ways to break down this art form and make sure that people never really get bored of drag in general, and more specifically my drag. Like, I want to find new ways to make sure the fans are having a good time, and I want to find new ways to make sure that I'm still like enjoying this shit, because I've seen some hoes where they get like bitter and over it, and it's not a pleasure, even if they're able to paint the smiley face on.
So what's happening with this Pride Castle thing? What is it, and what can we expect?
It's going to be, I think it's going to be equal parts entertainment and equal parts showcasing the strength and the beauty and just the excellence that Black queens and queens of color in general have. So we have like an amazing number planned for y'all. I know that I personally have a specific number that I'm excited to like get out into the world, and the other girls I'm sure worked hard. But I'm also excited because we're having this roundtable talk about what Pride really means. We're having a discussion on how we can be better going forward, like how we can be better allies to the Black and trans communities that are intrinsically a part of our culture. So, you know, I'm excited because we're going to have some fun, and then we're going to be like, pay attention and do the right thing. And then we're going to have some more fun.
The link's going to be right here in the description below, so you can click that and get ready, because it's going to be a great Pride Castle with Yvie and so many more girls from Drag Race. Now, Yvie, I tweeted and I said, what question do the fans have for you? And you said, weird questions only. So here we go from some of your fans. Jin Gallagher wants to know, what is your Taco Bell order?
Oh my God, that's so fierce. I just got Taco Bell like 2 days ago, so it's fresh in my mind. I need a beef or steak quesarito. I would like a 7-layer bean burrito, 7-layer beef and cheese burrito. That's the one. And then like a beef and cheese Frito burrito and a Doritos Locos taco with that gigantic ass Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Oh, I love it. That Baja Blast is everything when it hits the spot right. Gonzalo DCS wants to know, what is your favorite horror movie?
Ooh. Oh, that's so hard. I feel like it changes like on the regular, but after I saw Midsommar, I was like, never this. I didn't know I could be scared of daytime. Like every morning when I wake up, I'm like, oh my God. Like I get more peace going to sleep in the dark now than I do being out in the middle of the day.
Nixie Charm, how many Cheeto Puffs can you fit in your mouth?
However many this would be, just like, a lot, like a good dick full.
Macla2013, if you were a wig, what wig would you be?
Girl, I would be like some really, really cheap, busted, like dollar store, like arc wig, like the wigs that get recycled every Halloween and thrown right back into the system. But I would have like one fierce alternative material, like just glued in there, like one long dreadlock or like some yarn or whatever. Just a little bit of bling, but still cheap.
Paco the Taco, what is your main in Smash Bros?
Oh my God, I hate Smash Bros. Smash Bros is for rude little boys who don't tell you how to play the controls and then kick your ass. That being said, I really like Ness. He's easy enough.
And the last crazy weird question that we have, and you can easily say you don't want to answer it if you don't, is so Yvie, you're so flexible and elastic. What's the oddest position you've ever done?
Ooh, the oddest position I've ever done. Y'all, I'm boring in the bedroom. I created Yvie so that I had an outlet like for all of that crazy, insane energy. The oddest position I've ever done is anything but missionary. Like, I need to be looking into your eyes. I need to know that, like, we are the ones forever, even if I just met you. And I want you to gently kiss me.
You need the passion and the romance.
Yeah. Although, that being said, I once had sex with a guy while I was, like, doing a bridge thing, and it did not work out.
That seems like London Bridge would be falling down.
Oh, yeah. It fell down real quick. I was like, this is too much work for me. I'm a top because I'm lazy.
And Yvie, my last question for you is, if you could for one day be in another drag queen's shoes, past or present, who would you choose?
I don't know, probably someone like Ms. Cracker, because she seems like she has tiny feet. And that would be just like really nice to live that privilege for one day.
One day. All right, well, thank you so much, Yvie, for letting me expose you and tell more about your life. Where can people find you on the socials?
You can find me on Instagram as Oddly Yvie. You can find me on Twitter as Oddly Yvie. You can go to my Facebook account that's run by someone in the Philippines as Oddly Yvie. Oh, just kidding. That one's Yvie Oddly. And you can check out my OnlyFans if you slide into my DMs.
Well, thank you so much. Guys, be sure to like, thumbs up, subscribe, write your favorite part about this interview down below. Until next time, I'm Joseph, and that is the beautiful Yvie Oddly.
Howdy, howdy, I've been exposed.